Well, hi everybody, this is Tim, my CEO of DoDeals.com. Today is round 2 of our question and answer day. So, alright, let me pull up the questions here. How are you doing? So, okay, the first question we have is from David. And David said, Tim, as you know, there aren't any regular bank loans for investors or people with a foreclosure on their credit. I would like to know a way you would suggest to have a credit partner buy a house for me for a fee. For example, I see a house for sale for $75,000. I would like to pay a credit partner $2,500 to finance this house with a bank loan. I would put a 20% $15,000 down payment, so the loan amount would be about $65,000 and payments would be $500. I would rent it out for $900 per month. Can you recommend a way for me to do this so that my investments is protected? Alright, so this is gonna be a two-part answer. So number one, I would recommend that you know, with any of you guys, if you are in a situation where you want to buy more rental properties, want to hold on to more long-term properties, and you don't have the credit to do it, and even if you do have the credit to do it, you still can use this method. I recommend that you partner up with either a money partner or use a private lender to hold on to these deals. Okay, and so that way you don't need to worry about putting any money down, for that matter, and you know, and you don't need to worry about credit or any of that situation, right? So you get a private lender instead of, you know, a lot of time we use private lenders for short-term loans, like 6 to 12 months for a rehab deal. But there are private lenders out there that are interested in doing long-term loans, and so I would recommend you go that route, which is going after a private lender or a money partner to get into these deals long-term. Now, if you insist on using a credit partner, then I suggest to find like a friend, someone you know, and have good credit, have a good job, and they want to, you know, make money in these deals. So, you know, friends and family is typically how credit partners come about. I don't recommend that you go after credit partners that you don't know, you know, because things do get more complicated in these kind of transactions. It's a longer term deal. You know, for example, if you pay them out of their, you know, if you pay them their fee now, but later on you default on their loan and, you know, their credit goes bad, all kinds of stuff can arise from that. So, if you're gonna do these kind of deals, and stick with someone you know well, that you know, that trusts you, and that you trust them, of course, as well. And yeah, as far as getting your investment protected, once they close on the house, you can have them deed the property over to you or deed it to a land trust, with you being the beneficiary of that trust. So that's, you know, that's I hope that answers your question. All right. Henry from Alabama asked, I want to buy and sell houses in multiple states. Can I do this only by phone and internet without physically visiting the property and face-to-face meet with the owner? Assuming the seller is willing to sell, do I need to work through a bird dog or someone local if I do all closing through a title company or attorney? Great question, Henry. The answer is yes, you can do, especially with wholesaling, where, you know, you're not in the property, you're just getting the property under contract, turn around, sell it to another buyer, and they're handling everything. Those kind of transactions are the easiest to do without ever seeing the property or physically being there visiting the property, or meeting face-to-face with the owner. Now, of course, you would have to be good enough to be able to negotiate over the phone, which comes with experience to do that. And it's good if you have somebody on the ground that can take pictures for you, that can, you know, like show the buyer the property, especially if the property is occupied, can get the keys, put on the lockbox code for you. Yeah, so having a bird dog or someone local or even like you know, a realtor that's local that can run comps for you or give you access to the you know, to the MLS to be able to run your comps so you can determine value. Having someone local definitely makes the process much easier. And yes, even if you close through a title company, you know, the person local is mostly doing the things like taking pictures, putting the lockbox on if the house is vacant, if it's occupied, like scheduling that with the seller to show the buyer, so that way the buyer's not just like, you know, roaming free in the house. And you know, talking to the seller, sometimes buyers do that. Okay, so that's what I would recommend. So yes, the answer is yes, you can do it. I do, however, recommend that you start in your own town first, though, because it's the easiest way to learn the business. You know, you get to see what a house look like and feel like, and talking to the seller. You know, once you gain that experience, then doing it over the phone, doing it in another part of town makes things much easier than trying to have a big learning curve by doing it, you know, in another town, like as a beginning thing. All right, Sean from West Palm, Florida. I need to find backers that are willing to partner with me. In other words, money people. Yes, certainly. There's plenty of them. You know, private lenders are a great way to start that. Going to like real estate investing clubs and networking, it's a great way. Going to, like, if there's any IRA meetup group or like custodian. You know, here in Houston we have Quest IRA, who's a IRA custodian for investors here in town, and they have their monthly meetings. So you know, so we get a lot of private money from them. And that's a great way to start. You can also find, you know, a list from like a courthouse of all the private lenders that are, or you can buy this list. You know, private lenders that are lending for real estate. So you get to know them, and those are great money partners for you, whether it's an actual partner in a deal or loaning the money to you. Maryland. So Tim, regarding the flex option, do I market the property for the same price as the original wholesaler and split the profit, or do I mark it up and keep the spread? That depends on your negotiation with the wholesaler. What are they willing to do? You know, if they're willing to split the profit with you, then great. That would be the ideal way to go about it. But if they're not willing to lower any you know, amount at all, then yes, you mark up the price and keep the spread. Or maybe they are willing to discount their price. So let's say they were asking $100,000, and you know, they'll sell it to you for say $97,000. Then you can still sell at the same price at $100,000 and keep $3,000, or sell it for $103,000, whatever you can get for it, right? All right, second question from Jim. When investors speak of co-wholesaling, are they just referring to using the flex option, or are there some other types of co-wholesaling? Yeah, they're referring to using the flex option. It's, they might not use the actual flex option, but they are using an option agreement. So it's the same. All right, 3. What is the best way to determine ARV? The best way is to use, you know, the comps from the MLS. If you just don't have access to your MLS, can't get comps, don't have a realtor that can get you comps, then you can use free tools like Zillow and ePraisal.com, just to give you a rough guesstimate. Okay, it's not the best ARV, but it's something you can work with. But I do recommend that you have a realtor, someone can pull comps in the local market, like off of the MLS, because that's what appraisers use. They use comps from the MLS. What is the best way to estimate repairs? How do I you know, the best way is to either have a contractor to walk the house and make a list of all the repairs and estimate that for you, or if you have like a repair estimate sheet, you know, that you can use to determine repairs that has amount and stuff, you can do that. Okay. Yeah, the easiest way is just using a contractor. What is the best way to determine what to offer as a wholesaler? Well, what you want to offer as a wholesaler is based on, you know that your buyers will pay 65 to 70% of ARV minus repairs. That's very typical. Every market it's a little bit different. For example, if you're in Florida right now, they're willing to buy a lot more than that. Here in Houston, rehabbers and landlords are willing to buy like 70%. So you know that let's say they're willing to pay 70%, and let's say I have a house that's worth $100,000, needs $10,000 in repairs. So 70% of $100,000 is $70,000 minus $10,000 in repairs, which is $60,000. That means I know I can sell it for $60,000, and so I would want to offer anything less than $60,000 so I can make money. So if I want to make 10 grand on the deal, which is my goal on an average deal, and so I would then offer $50,000. Okay, but I'm willing to pay, up to even $69,000, right, just to make $1,000 out of it. So, because I already spent my time and money marketing for that property, for that seller, and talking to them. Let me see here. When making offers through a real estate agent, what is a creative way to indicate a $500 or $1,000 deposit in the contract without actually using your own money? When making an offer through a real estate agent, well, if you're just making an offer, obviously you can put any amount you want, right? Until the offer get accepted is when you have to use use money to do that. There's not really a creative way as far as what to write down in a contract to not having to put down on this money if you're offering through a real estate agent. But what you can do is once you get the offer accepted, you can quickly find a buyer, and prefer if you have a list of buyers lined up ahead of time. So once you have the offer accepted, you can then immediately sell it to your buyer, and then use your buyer's earnest money to deposit for your contract with the real estate agent. Okay. All right. Great questions, Jim. Okay, so Ted said, Ted from Florida, if you were dropped off in any city with nothing, no money, like Robert Allen Braxton can do, and had to start all over, what's the first thing you would do? Find buyers, deals, and how would you do it? Great question, Ted. So, it probably depends on what city, but just generally speaking, I would definitely do the flex option method. Number one, I would find all the wholesale deals that are that are available in the market, that are listed for sale, and I would advertise those deals on Craigslist with signs. But since I don't have any money, I probably might not have any money for signs. So I'll probably have to depend on Craigslist and just like networking, find some used signs and use a marker to handwrite that, right? Do something with that, and then I'm gonna have buyers that's gonna be contacting me from all these properties that I'm advertising. Once I find a buyer that's interested in one of those deals, I then go talk to the wholesaler about letting me sell that house to my buyer, and that's how I would make my money. So that's what I would do. That would be like the fastest way to make money on deals. Okay. Hope that answers your question. All right. Norma from Illinois asks, what is your version of a maximum allowable offer on a REO with a asset manager? What is your version of a maximum allowable offer on an REO with an asset manager? Same thing. I mean, same thing as any type of property. I just gotta find out what my buyers are willing to pay for it, and then build in $10,000 for me to make an offer. And it really, really depends on the market, the type of properties, what city. If you're in a city where people are paying more than that, Like for example, if you're trying to use that sort of 70-60% formula, like in Tampa, which I know hedge funds are buying a lot over there. That's not gonna to an REO agent, that's not gonna work, right? But generally speaking, for most of you, in normal markets, then yeah, I mean, I know I can sell it for at least 70%, and so anything I can get for less than that would be an offer that I would make. All right, Ted said, since you say hedge fund buyers are buying up everything, how do I get them to buy from me? How do I contact them or get their info? And number one, if you're a big player in the area, like if they see that you advertise a lot of properties for sale, they will approach you. They will actually contact you because they're like looking out for these people. You can also track your competitors, find out who are some of the investors that do a lot of wholesaling, and find out who they're selling it to. Right? And so like do some court record search to see who they're selling it to. Talk to a title company, like talk to a like one of the big title companies in your area, and find out who are the ones that are buying multiple single family properties. A lot of times they would know who the big players are. So that's just a sort of a quick version of how to find these hedge fund buyers. Okay. And Larry from Maryland asks, it's funny, we have a lot of Maryland and Florida. Huh, interesting. Okay. Are lease option and subject to good strategy for today's market? And if so, how do you find and approach the sellers? What do you say to them? I've heard people say, don't say, would you do a lease option? Yes, lease option and subject tos are great strategy in today's market, especially with the lender lending less and less money, and so they are great strategy. Okay, and what do you say to them? Yeah, so this is actually a longer question than this video can answer probably, but you would say something to the effect of, let's assuming you're buying subject to, okay? So I would say that based on the amount that you still owed on the property, and based on what the value of the property is, the amount of repairs that's needed, and how much you still owed on it, it doesn't match up. It doesn't fit our cash buying criteria. So we can't pay for cash because we need a bigger discount to be able to do that. However, what we can do is we can take over your mortgage payments, take over your insurance payments and taxes, all of the payments around regarding the house. So that's how we can buy your property. Okay, and to do that, what would happen is that you would deed the house over to us, and we take over all the payments. We're gonna keep the loan as is in your name, because we can't get a loan to replace it, because it costs us more money to be able to do that than we can do this deal. And so that's how you would say it. Now, subject twos are not the best way for a seller to sell the house. They would much rather just like sell it outright. You pay them cash, they walk away happy, pay off their loan, right? That's the ideal situation. But if you have a seller where they don't have an option for that, like they don't have the option to sell it for cash because they owe too much, and they don't have the option to sell it to the retail market because either they owe too much, like after the real estate commission and everything, they might have to come to table for closing table with money, or because the house needs too much repairs and they can't sell it retail. So the seller has to have a problem, like a need to sell the house, but they can't sell it any other way. So it's subject to be sort of like the best last option for them. It's not the best option, but it's the best last option. And same, similar thing with lease options. So you would say something very similar to that. Okay. I like to buy houses on subject to and sell them on lease option. I don't like to buy them on lease options because I want to have control of the property. I want to have ownership of the property, and lease option you kind of renting the house out with the option to buy it, but you don't actually own it. Okay. Alright. With that said, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you on that next one. Bye everyone. Enjoy.